What?
All rise for Clive Coleman. It's the law.
And Clive, we're talking about divorce law. What's happened?
Well, big case, Eddie. This is all about spousal maintenance. How much should an ex-wife get and for how long? Tracy Wright, she's a 51-year-old former legal secretary and riding instructor. She split from her husband, Ian, a racehorse surgeon, in 2008. They were married for 11 years. On the divorce, their house was sold. Ian Wright was ordered to pay £75,000 a year in maintenance and school fees. Now, that included $33,000 as spousal maintenance for Mrs. Wright's personal upkeep for life. Mr. Wright went back to court, asked for a reduction in that, arguing that it wasn't fair to keep supporting his wife for life, especially when, as he was going to retire shortly, his income would drop. He succeeded, she appealed, and yesterday Lord Justice Pitchford in the Court of Appeal rejected her appeal, saying that it was imperative that the wife should go out to work and support herself. He added, there is a general expectation that once children are in year 2, that's 7, mothers can begin part-time work and make a financial contribution. The significance, Eddie, is that there has been, particularly in London, a very generous presumption in favour of maintenance for ex-wives, and that has led to lifetime maintenance awards. Now, I think that this case is going to see an end to those in all but a tiny, tiny minority of cases.
Our legal Clive Coleman with the details. As for reaction, well, Peter Lloyd is the author of Stand By Your Manhood, which was described as part blistering polemic, part politically incorrect roadmap for the modern man. And we've also been hearing from the divorce lawyer Vanessa Lloyd-Platt.
What this case has done, it's really put the cat amongst the pigeons, because it seems to be saying if you have a child above the age of 7, don't expect to be supported for your entire life. Now, that's all very well, but in the real world, how can some wives, where there has been an extremely long marriage, suddenly be told, you have to go out to work, love, just go and get on with it?
Is that really what the judge is saying? He actually said, Lord Justice Pitchford, there's a general expectation that once children are in year 2, mothers can begin part-time work and make a financial contribution. Is that so unreasonable?
If someone has an earning capacity, then yes, they might be able to go back to work, but not everybody can. What about choices that families have when they say, we want to be at home with our children? We shouldn't allow judges carte blanche to say women should go back to work if they have no ability to do so.
Peter Lloyd, what do you think of the judgment?
The very notion of spousal support is absolutely bonkers. This is a woman who has already received 50% of the assets that were split in the divorce. She's clearly capable of going out and getting a job, and the assumption that her ex-husband should finance her for the rest of her life just because she's a woman and he's a man is absurd. I mean,
No, that's not true.
It is true. It
works
true.
the other way around. If he was a house husband,
No,
he would have the same right.
Sorry, it very, very rarely works in that way.
That's not true.
It is true. I mean, look, in 2010, judges were formally told to go easy on women in all legal cases. And this is just one of those examples.
Oh, they were.
Marriage,
That's absolute nonsense.
Look, marriage is the fraud of the rings. It is not something that is worthwhile for men. And this case just proves it.
That's ridiculous. The point is, there is an issue here that you're completely overlooking, which is that if, whether it's a house husband or a wife, has given up their career because on discussion with the other party they've made a choice together that she's given up her career and their long marriages, I'm not necessarily saying in the short marriages this should not be the case, they do not have parity of earning. Why should, therefore, he be able to go off and do all the wonderful things he's always done and she not be able to because she has brought up the children, she's stayed at home, she's helped build his career?
Vanessa, I think the reason why she should now go out and get a job is because they've already divorced, they've already sold the assets, and they've already split it 50-50. She has already received a £450,000 mortgage-free house. She is also...
Which she worked towards because she allowed him and helped him build his career.
And Peter, if you had your way...
enjoy it?
And Peter, if you had your way, would you have even tighter rules on divorce settlements than there are now?
Well, ideally, I think we should move and kind of replicate the Scottish model where maintenance is limited to 3 years. At the moment, the very notion that men have to pay exponentially forever for an ex-wife. I mean, what happens if this man marries 4 times and then divorces 4 times? Women constantly talk about how they're objectified as sex objects, but men are objectified as success objects, as walking cash points.
Vanessa, let me put to you something Viv Groskop is saying in the Guardian website this afternoon.
Yes.
She says, this case provides an opportunity to say what's obvious. It's wrong to expect someone else to support you for life when the terms of the relationship change. I would go further and say that it's not a great idea, or a feminist one, to enter into a relationship on those terms in the first place.
Well, what they're overlooking is that many women do work, but there are those women who, together with their husbands, make a lifestyle choice. They are disadvantaged because of the very fact that they give up their careers. They are not on a parity. And in 2000, the case of White came along to look at that very issue. Previous to that, cases were just dealt with on the basis of need. What did the wife need? And the husbands kept all the surplus. After years of study around the globe, it was decided that it was unfair, it was unjust, and that wives who gave up their careers and looked after families should have parity. There should be equality by allowing them to enjoy the spoils and not allowing just the men to go off, or the house husbands, forgive me, because it works both ways
Vanessa,
round.
he has already contributed financially to the settlement. What more does he need to do? How long does he need to do this for?
No, he only contributed to the house, not to how she lives. What about the concept of the standard of living? Why should there be such a disparity?
Well, because he's the one who's going out and earning the money. It's his skill set.
What's her job then? Does that mean nothing? The courts recognised after years and years that looking after a family, helping build the husband's career, does count for a huge contribution, an equal contribution.
Yeah, but I think he's also contributed to the family in many ways, and not just financially. So,
no, because you're just going back to the Dark Ages.
No, I'm not. What
are the Dark Ages you keep talking about?
The Dark Ages were the days where the women on a divorce did not have the same standard of living ever again.
Vanessa, what do you say to Peter's suggestion of a Scottish-style 3-year limit?
It will not work.
Why? Why?
Because it produces unfairness, because it produces women that cannot support themselves or their families.
Peter, your central message is don't get married.
I think men need marriage like a fish needs a bicycle. And this ruling is just yet another reason for men to stay single and go their own way, as it's termed online.
I don't agree. I think marriage is a wonderful thing if it works.
Well, but frequently marriage doesn't work. It doesn't have the fairy tale ending that it's touted as having.
Yeah, but then we have a duty as a society to make sure we protect people if it does end badly.
Okay, so Vanessa, how is society and the law protecting men? We know that men's suicide rates is at a 15-year high. Do you think this man and all other men need any more pressure, which includes bankrolling another human being who's capable of working?
And what about the women and the children? Do they need the pressure too?
Right,
there has to be equality.
Right, so where is the equality? Where is the equality in family law, which gives fathers rights? Still, we don't have it.
Peter Lloyd, the author of Stand By Your Manhood, and the divorce lawyer Vanessa Lloyd Platt.